The lobby of the Grand Meridian Hotel sparkled with the kind of opulence that whispered rather than shouted wealth. Crystal chandeliers, marble floors, fresh orchids on every surface. This was where celebrities stayed incognito, where business moguls closed billion-dollar deals, where the ultra-wealthy expected perfection and paid accordingly. Alex Chen walked through the revolving doors carrying a single backpack, wearing cargo pants with multiple pockets, a faded t-shirt from a street market in Bangkok, and sandals that had walked across 4 continents. His hair was longer than business-appropriate, sun-bleached at the ends. His skin was tanned from months spent outdoors. He looked exactly like what he was, a traveler who'd been on the road for 6 months. What he didn't look like was someone who could afford the Grand Meridian's $800 per night rooms. Alex approached the reception desk with a tired smile. "Hi, I have a reservation. Chen. Alex, Chen." The receptionist, a young woman named Brittany according to her name tag, looked up from her computer. Her professional smile flickered for just a moment as she took in his appearance. One moment. She typed on her keyboard, her expression becoming puzzled. "I don't see a reservation under that name." "It should be there. I booked it 3 weeks ago. Confirmation number." Alex pulled out his phone, scrolling through emails. "Sir?" Brittany interrupted, her tone shifting from professional to concerned. "Are you sure you have the right hotel?" "We're the Grand Meridian. Perhaps you meant the Meridian Inn. That's down by the airport." "No, I meant here." The Grand Meridian. Downtown. This hotel. Alex found his confirmation email. "Here, confirmation number 847GHK2294. Brittany typed the number in, her expression growing more uncertain. "That number doesn't appear in our system." "Are you absolutely certain?" "I'm certain." Alex kept his tone patient despite growing frustration. He'd been traveling for 18 hours, through 3 time zones, and he just wanted a shower and a bed. A man in an expensive suit approached the desk. The hotel manager, according to the badge pinned to his lapel. Marcus Webb, general manager. "Is there a problem?" Marcus asked Brittany, though his eyes were on Alex. "This gentleman claims to have a reservation, but I can't find it in the system." Marcus studied Alex with the practiced eye of someone who'd spent years in luxury hospitality. The backpack, the worn clothes, the sandals that had no place in a 5-star hotel lobby. "Sir, I think there's been some confusion. This hotel requires advance reservations and typically caters to a specific clientele. Perhaps I can recommend some other accommodations more suited to—" "I have a reservation," Alex said, his patience wearing thin. "I paid for it 3 weeks ago. Premium suite, 5 nights. Marcus's expression suggested polite skepticism. "A premium suite here costs $1,200 per night. That's $6,000 for your stay, plus tax." "I'm aware of the cost." "I paid it." "With what form of payment?" Alex bristled at the implication. "My credit card. Same as everyone else." Marcus glanced at Brittany, a silent communication passing between them. "Sir, I'm going to be frank. We've had issues with fraudulent reservations, people using stolen credit cards, making bookings they can't actually afford. For everyone's protection, I need to verify that you have the means to stay here." "You need to verify that I can afford to stay?" Alex's voice remained calm, but there was an edge entering it. "Do you ask that of all your guests?" "We ask it when there are discrepancies in our system and the guest's presentation raises concerns." "My presentation. Your appearance suggests you're more of a backpacker, budget traveler. There's no shame in that, but the Grand Meridian isn't typically where that demographic stays." Alex felt the familiar burn of being judged, dismissed, categorized based on surface appearance. It happened constantly when you traveled the world looking like a broke college student instead of what you actually were. "So, you're refusing me service based on how I'm dressed?" "I'm protecting the hotel and our legitimate guests from potential fraud." Marcus's tone had shifted from polite to firm. "If you can provide valid identification, a credit card that matches your name, and some proof of your ability to pay, then we can proceed." Alex could feel other guests watching now. A couple in designer clothes paused on their way to the elevator. A businessman at the concierge desk glanced over with curiosity. "Fine." Alex pulled out his wallet, extracting his driver's license and a black credit card. ID and credit card, both with my name. Marcus examined both, running the credit card through a verification device. His eyebrows rose slightly at whatever appeared on the screen, but his expression remained skeptical. The card has a high limit, he admitted. But that doesn't confirm… Confirm what? That I can afford your hotel? Run it. Charge the full amount right now if you need to. That's not standard procedure. Neither is interrogating guests in your lobby. Alex's frustration was becoming visible. I've stayed in 5-star hotels across 6 continents. I've never been treated like this. Marcus's jaw tightened. Sir, I'm trying to be reasonable. But your appearance, combined with the system discrepancy, raises legitimate concerns. I have a responsibility to protect this establishment. From what? From me? From potential issues that could affect our other guests' experience. There it was. Not fraud protection, not system errors, but the fundamental assumption that someone who looked like Alex didn't belong in a place like this. Alex took a slow breath. He could reveal who he was right now, pull up his social media with its 10 million followers, show his bank account with its 9-figure balance, explain that he'd made $1 billion selling his travel app company to Google 3 years ago. But he'd learned something traveling the world while looking like this. How people treated you when they thought you were nobody revealed everything about their character. Tell you what, Alex said quietly, I'm going to leave. But before I do, I'm going to document this entire interaction. He pulled out his phone and opened Instagram, where 10.3 million followers awaited his next post. He switched to video mode and started recording. Hey, everyone, Alex here. I'm currently in the lobby of the Grand Meridian Hotel in downtown Manhattan. I made a reservation 3 weeks ago, paid $6,000 for a 5-night stay, but I'm being refused service because… He turned the camera toward Marcus. Why exactly am I being refused service? Marcus's face went pale as he realized he was being recorded. Sir, you can't… Can't what? Record in a public space? I absolutely can. This is legal. Now, for my 10 million followers, could you explain why you're denying me the room I paid for? 10 million, Brittany whispered, pulling up Instagram on her computer. Her face went from curious to horrified. Oh my God, he's Alex Chen. The Alex Chen. The travel blogger. Marcus grabbed her screen, staring at the profile. Alex Chen. 10.3 million followers. Verified account. Bio reading. Sold my company, bought a backpack, seeing the world. Founder of Travel Path, acquired by Google. Sharing the journey. The most recent posts showed Alex in Bali, in Morocco, in Peru. Each post had hundreds of thousands of likes. Comments from verified accounts, celebrities, athletes, other influencers. Marcus's face went from pale to gray. So, Alex continued, still recording, are you going to explain to my followers why the Grand Meridian Hotel profiles guests based on appearance? Why having a confirmed reservation, valid ID, and a credit card with a 6-figure limit isn't enough if you're wearing cargo pants? Mr. Chen, Marcus stammered, I had no idea. You had no idea I was someone important, so you felt comfortable discriminating. That's the problem. A crowd had gathered in the lobby. Other guests, hotel staff, all watching this unfold. Several people had their own phones out, recording. Please, Mr. Chen, there's been a misunderstanding. There's been no misunderstanding. You saw how I was dressed and decided I didn't belong here. You demanded proof of payment you don't require from other guests. You literally told me this hotel caters to a specific clientele and suggested I go elsewhere. I was protecting the hotel. From what? From a paying customer? Alex's voice remained calm, but there was steel underneath. You were protecting your hotel's image, making sure only the right kind of people stayed here, and you determined I wasn't the right kind based purely on my clothes. Marcus reached for Alex's phone. Please stop recording. Don't touch my phone. Alex pulled it back. You had no problem making a scene when you thought I was nobody. Now you're uncomfortable because my 10 million followers are watching. Brittany was frantically typing on her computer. Mr. Chen, I found your reservation. It was in the system the whole time. It must have been a search error. A search error that conveniently led to me being interrogated and denied service. Alex turned the camera back to himself. Interesting how these errors always seem to happen to people who don't look wealthy enough. He addressed his phone again. So, here's the thing, everyone. I've stayed in hundreds of hotels around the world. Luxury resorts, budget hostels, everything in between. And you know what I've learned? The quality of a hotel isn't about the thread count or the marble floors. It's about how they treat people. All people. Not just the ones who arrive in Armani suits. He lowered his phone, ending the recording. I won't be staying here, obviously. But I will be posting this, with the hotel name, and the manager's name, and every single detail of how I was treated. Mr. Chen, please, Marcus was begging now, don't do this. Give me a chance to make it right. The presidential suite, complimentary for your entire stay, and what? You'll treat me well now that you know I'm rich and influential? That's exactly the problem. Alex turned to leave, but a voice stopped him. Wait! A woman in her 60s was approaching, moving quickly despite her elegant heels. Her designer suit screamed executive, and her expression was a mixture of horror and determination. Mr. Chen, please wait. I'm Catherine Holbrook. I own the Grand Meridian chain. Alex paused. Marcus looked like he wanted to disappear. I've been watching from the mezzanine, Catherine continued. I came down for my quarterly inspection and happened to see this entire interaction. Mr. Webb, she turned to Marcus, you're fired. Effective immediately. Brittany, escort him off the property. Marcus's mouth opened and closed. Mrs. Holbrook, you were just discriminating against a guest based on his appearance. You violated every principle this hotel chain stands for. You're done. She turned back to Alex. Mr. Chen, I can't undo what happened. I can't make you unhear the things that were said, but I can promise you that this isn't who we are. Or rather, it's not who we're going to be. Will you give me an hour of your time? Alex studied her. To do what? To listen. To understand what we did wrong and how we can fix it. Not just for you, but for every guest who doesn't arrive looking like they stepped out of a fashion magazine. Something in her tone was genuine. Alex nodded slowly. 1 hour. They sat in a private conference room. Catherine, Alex, the hotel's head of training, and the regional operations director. Marcus had been escorted out, still protesting. Tell me honestly, Catherine began, how often does this happen to you? More than you'd think. Less than it used to. I've learned to. Alex paused, choosing words carefully. Prove myself early. Show the black credit card. Drop references to wealth. Make it clear I can afford to be there. But you shouldn't have to. No, I shouldn't. But that's the reality for anyone who doesn't look like they belong in luxury spaces. Catherine nodded slowly. When I started this chain 40 years ago, I was a single mother working 3 jobs to buy my first hotel. It was a rundown motel, barely 2 stars. I rebuilt it from nothing. And I swore that my hotels would be places where hard work was respected, where people were judged by their character, not their appearance. Somewhere along the way, that got lost, Alex observed. Yes, we became so focused on attracting high-end clientele that we forgot what hospitality actually means. She looked at her operations director. How many complaints do we get about guests being profiled? The director pulled up data on a tablet. In the past year? 47 documented incidents. But I suspect there are many more unreported. 47 times we made people feel unwelcome in our hotels. Catherine's voice was heavy. That's 47 times we violated everything I built this company on. What are you going to do about it? Alex asked. Everything. Mandatory training for all staff. New policies that explicitly prohibit profiling. Mystery shoppers who'll test our people, and anyone who discriminates gets terminated. No warnings. That's a start, but the real question is whether you'll maintain it, or if this is just damage control because I have a big platform. Catherine met his eyes directly. I won't lie and say your platform isn't relevant. It is, but this conversation would be happening even if you hadn't filmed it. Your video just accelerated what needed to happen anyway. Alex's phone had been buzzing non-stop. He glanced at it. The video he'd posted 15 minutes ago already had 500,000 views. Comments were flooding in. mostly supporting him, but also with stories. Hundreds of people sharing their own experiences of being profiled at hotels, restaurants, stores. "It's not just hotels," Alex said, turning his phone toward Catherine. "Look at these comments. It's everywhere. Every industry. Anyone who doesn't look wealthy enough gets treated like they're trying to steal something." Catherine read through the comments, her expression growing more pained with each story. "Mr. Chen, would you be willing to consult with us, help us understand what we're doing wrong and how to fix it? I'll pay whatever your rate is." Alex considered. "I don't need the money, but I'll do it if you're genuinely committed to change. Real change, not just PR. I am. I swear on everything I built. Then yes, I'll help, but I'm going to hold you accountable, and my 10 million followers will too." Catherine smiled slightly. "I'd expect nothing less." 3 months later, Alex returned to the Grand Meridian. He arrived in the same cargo pants and sandals, the same backpack, looking exactly like he had the first time. The reaction was completely different. "Welcome to the Grand Meridian." The new front desk agent greeted him warmly. "Do you have a reservation?" "I do. Chen. Alex Chen." "Perfect. Let me check you in. No judgment, no questions about his ability to pay, just professional, warm service." Alex was shown to a beautiful suite, not the presidential suite as compensation, just the premium room he'd booked and paid for, exactly what he'd wanted 3 months ago. Later, he was invited to observe a training session. New staff were going through the revised onboarding, learning about unconscious bias, practicing inclusive service, hearing real stories from guests who'd been profiled. One of the trainers showed Alex's video, the one from the lobby that now had 15 million views. "This is what we're trying to prevent," the trainer explained. "Not because of bad publicity, but because every single person who walks through our doors deserves respect. Whether they're a billionaire blogger or someone saving for months to afford one special night, they all deserve the same excellent service." A young trainee raised her hand. "What if we genuinely can't find their reservation?" "What if there really is a system error? Then you apologize for the inconvenience and work to solve it. You don't question their ability to pay. You don't suggest they'd be better off somewhere else. You assume they belong here until proven otherwise, and even then, you treat them with dignity." Alex nodded approvingly. This was real change. That evening, Catherine joined Alex for dinner in the hotel restaurant. "Your video changed us," she said. "But more than that, it changed the industry. Other hotel chains have reached out, asking for help implementing similar training. The hospitality industry is actually talking about this now." "Good. It's been a problem for too long. I have something to show you." Catherine pulled out her phone, opening an email. "This came yesterday. It's from a young woman who said she's a college student who saved for a year to afford one night here for her graduation. She said she arrived in jeans and a university sweatshirt, terrified she'd be turned away." She continued reading. "But the staff treated me like royalty. They celebrated my graduation with me, made me feel like I absolutely belonged there. I don't know if this has anything to do with the changes you made after that video, but I wanted to thank you for creating a place where everyone feels welcome." Catherine's eyes were damp. "That's what I wanted this chain to be. And we lost it. But we're finding it again." Alex smiled. "You're not done yet. Change is a process, not a destination, but you're on the right path." 6 months after the incident, Alex's video had become a case study in hospitality courses across the country. The Grand Meridian had become known not for the discrimination that happened, but for how they'd responded, with immediate accountability, genuine change, and sustained commitment to inclusive service. Alex continued traveling the world, still wearing cargo pants and carrying a backpack. But now, increasingly often, he encountered hotel staff who'd been trained better, who saw a guest, not a stereotype, who understood that wealth came in many forms and deserved respect in all of them. And whenever he encountered discrimination, which still happened, though less frequently, he documented it, posted it, used his platform not for revenge, but for education. Because real change happened when people couldn't hide their discrimination anymore, when victims had platforms to share their stories, when companies faced real consequences for treating people poorly. The Grand Meridian hadn't just lost a manager that day in the lobby, they'd gained a mirror, a chance to see themselves clearly and choose to be better. Not every company would make that choice, but the ones that did would discover something valuable. That inclusive service wasn't just morally right, it was good business. Because the backpacker you dismiss today might be the billionaire who transforms your entire industry tomorrow. 1 year after the viral video, Alex returned to the Grand Meridian for a final visit. Catherine met him in the lobby, the same lobby where he'd been profiled and denied service. "I wanted you to see this," she said, guiding him to a wall near the entrance. There hung a framed statement, professionally mounted. "At the Grand Meridian, we serve people, not appearances." Every guest deserves respect, dignity, and excellent service, not because of what they wear or what we assume they can afford, but because they're human beings who chose to trust us with their hospitality needs. We commit to this principle without exception. Below the statement was a small plaque, inspired by the courage of guests who demanded better and our commitment to being worthy of that demand. Alex read it twice, feeling something shift in his chest. "You actually did it. Real change." "We're still working on it," Catherine admitted. "Still training, still learning, still catching ourselves when old habits surface. But yes, we're different now. Better." As Alex checked out the next morning, the young desk agent who checked him in asked nervously, "Mr. Chen, could I ask you something?" "Of course. When you walked in yesterday, I knew who you were. But even if I hadn't, I would have treated you the same way, because that's what we're trained to do now. Does that count? As real change?" Alex smiled. "That counts as exactly what real change looks like. Thank you." Walking out into the Manhattan morning, backpack on his shoulders, Alex felt something he hadn't felt in years of traveling. Hope that the world was slowly becoming more welcoming to people who didn't fit conventional molds of success and wealth. It was a small change, limited to one hotel chain and the ripples it created, but small changes accumulated. Small victories added up, and every person who chose to demand better service, to document discrimination, to use their voice for accountability, they all moved the needle. The backpacker in cargo pants and sandals walked down the street, invisible to most passers-by, just another face in the New York crowd. But he carried with him $1 billion net worth, a platform reaching millions, and the quiet satisfaction of knowing he'd made the world slightly more just. If this story resonated with you, remember, judge people by their character, not their luggage, by their actions, not their appearance, by who they are, not what you assume they can afford. Share this with anyone in hospitality, retail, or any service industry. Remind them that discrimination costs everything and respect costs nothing. Subscribe to Real Justice Stories for more tales of accountability, change, and the power of using your platform for good. Thank you for watching. Remember, the backpacker you dismiss might be the billionaire who decides your company's future. Treat everyone like they matter, because they do.